having you both here, and a very, very special occasion. So we are looking forward to discuss with you some of the topics relevant around the project, but also the concept umbrella of the Living Spaces program, which is the high quality architecture. So my first question for both of you would be what it means for you, high quality architecture. How do you approach it in your projects? How do you materialize it?
Yeah, maybe I start. I mean, I'm maybe the unknown face in this group, so to contextualize it, there's a little video here. I don't know when we play it, now or later, just to give you guys a kind of overview of what I've done in the past, what we've done. It was a collaboration between a friend of mine and myself for a new university building in Braunschweig, and it's the idea of the building. It's accessible for everyone, for the people of the campus, for the students mostly, and also for the general public. Sorry, I will go to your question in a minute, but I think it might be a good idea to contextualize a little bit. And as you can see, it's located on the center of this campus in the middle of Germany, and it is we call it a democratic space. It's essentially trying to promote student culture. It's a space that has workspaces for more than 200 students, about 1,000 square meters big. And the idea is that it's different to a library, it's different to a lecture hall. It's it promotes the things that happen normally in the corridor. So the conversations between students, the social and informal interaction between students and everybody who goes to campus is essentially what is put in the foreground here, because we see this as like a very important part of learning processes of higher education. We kind of see it equally important to the factual curriculum you might have at the university, is the conversations you have with your friends, the friends you make at universities, the parties you celebrate. So all these informal things should happen in this space. And as I said before, this is something that already exists at the universities. There's smaller, very small spaces like this where students organize themselves as a little entity. They make in order to have workspaces, but also in order to socialize. So we analyzed this. This was a competition. Before the competition, we analyzed this and we had a look at what is already there at the campus. And essentially, that's a continuation of this culture that already exists. It's supposed to give a space of opportunity, a space that's open to everyone and that can be adapted and adopted in many different ways in order to create a kind of or promote this culture that is already there. And I think this point goes back to the question that you just asked, is what is high quality architecture? I think this point of departure is very important. The fact that you have something to work with, an existing culture. It can be a physical context like a building that you might choose not to demolish like Christophe has, but in this case the departure is more a kind of cultural aspect of an existing formation of student culture at the campus, and we took that and translated this into a building. And then there's obviously the material and the architectural aspect of the building that might be interesting to have a quick word about. It is entirely modular and entirely is an architecture for disassembly. So the idea of the building can be temporary. Whether it is, it's not clear, but it can be completely dismantled and taken apart and moved to another location. I doubt this will happen in the near future, but it's possible. And it's also possible to change it internally, to reconfigure it constantly with furniture, and this happens on a daily basis. So you have tables and chairs you move around, and you see these very slender columns in a 3 by 3 meter grid, and not just the structure of the building, but also the technical infrastructure. So the electricity runs in there, you can see it there, you can plug your laptop into a column that makes the space very flexible and very easy to adapt, and also promotes this idea that you can make your own corner for individual work, but you can make a larger group table for collective work, and the building changes. It changes when there's like exam time on campus. People, sit down and study like in the library, but when there's workshops, big workshops happen there, models are being made, things are being produced, group work happens, and it has one last thing to say, maybe this outdoor space which is covered, and it creates a sort of second or additional usable space for in spring, summer time. Those are very good spaces to use. Yeah, so that's the context.
Thank you for the context. Your work has already been visited today, so maybe you can complement or explain what is for you high quality architecture.
I will say that for me the high quality architecture is the high quality of life. So maybe the goal is not the architecture. The architecture for me is the tool, it's a process to reach that point, that how we can provide a better life, good quality of life. And sometimes the life is already here, as they said, with the social, the culture of the student they've got on the campus. They've got the space now to move forward and to develop, and also the beauty, it works very well. So the quality of architecture, it's the meeting point with, for me, it's the meeting point between the skill of the architecture, what we can bring, but also the performance of the people, which means that for example, I will talk about music, so I can be so polemic on architecture, but for the music, I will talk about that later also, I think. The classical music, the musician, they play a partition, and everything was happening, it's written on the partition before by another one. And after the contemporary music, the jazz music, the open partition, the music make this movement that the noise of what is surrounding us is part of the artwork at the end. Okay, and I think the architect, we didn't do this movement, because it's the meeting between the life and the structure and the architecture that we can provide. Maybe what we visit this morning, you visit an empty apartment, but you have to trust me, if you visit an apartment where the people are living inside, what I'm saying make a lot of sense.
Yeah, definitely. Yeah, I like the concept of finding the balance between the hardware and the software. And related to that, which is very interesting, I would like to know more about the processes, because we already know in the 21st century, and after all the challenges we are facing, that the process can be even more important than the result. Of course, we have overcome a phase of super beautiful architecture in terms of photography in magazines, but this is over, it's in the process of being over, and the process how we get there, it can be more important. So can you maybe explain the experience that made possible this beautiful project of yours?
Yeah, I agree with you. I think architecture is as much a process as it is built form. So, and we should look at this process a little bit more. And if I talk about the work that I do, a lot of it means collaboration rather than competition, maybe. Although we do participate constantly in competitions as architects, that's just what we do. Exactly. But it might also have to do with the fact that this was my and Christophe's first building, and we're just completed another.